Welcome to Washoe Life, where we explore the stories shaping our region, our people, and the future of our region. Today, we're coming to you from the awe-inspiring Fly Ranch. 3,800 acres, 35. A little bit more than that, 3,800 acres of high desert, hot springs, wetlands, and wild beauty just north of the Black Rock Desert. This was once the site of the 1997 Burning Man gathering. Fly Ranch is now a year-round living laboratory for sustainable art and land stewardship.
And we are in a very special place, so thank you for letting us invade your space for a little while here and getting us out of the office. I appreciate that. Zach Saravello, Marnie Benson, tell us a little who you are or what you do here on Fly Ranch.
Yeah, so I'm the general manager for Fly Ranch. I'm part of the Fly Ranch team, and we're out here working year-round to try and incubate and cultivate and propagate a year-round living laboratory for creative arts, culture, sustainability, and land stewardship.
I'm Marnie Benson. I'm the Director of Government Affairs for Burning Man, and my role is to assist and support our organization's goals and mission and our efforts specifically here at Fly Ranch. I'm super happy to be here today. Thank you both.
So tell us just right off the bat, Burning Man, Fly Ranch, they do intersect, but they are also separate. Can you explain that just a little bit?
Sure. Well, this space and this land is really important to Burning Man, not only because it was the site of Burning Man in 1997, the only time that the event has been on private land, but also from that moment, there was sort of the thought and the belief of what if this ephemeral thing that popped up and impacted so many people and had so much creative potential around it could have a year-round home in this desert, in this place we love, in this county we love. So from that point, it sort of started a process of saying what might be, what is possible. Up through the tail end of the 90s, the 2000s, eventually Burning Man's transitioned into a nonprofit, setting up the ability to create the grounds for the imagination of what might be possible. And really, it's the long-term vision in Burning Man to think of this as an anchor here that people can come to all year round, or, not just during this very finite time period.
And I love that because Fly Geyser is an anchor for Washoe County, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just kind of comes full circle.
It's a famous landmark for sure. Those of us who have grown up here or spent a lot of time in Washoe County, the geyser. It's iconic. It's part of this property. It's surrounded by geothermal features. It can be a water source, a source of cultural connection, energy, and it's really important to, as part of this whole property, our organization's mission in the world includes connecting people to nature and place and to each other and creating a more thriving community in the world. And so, as Zach said, what our vision for this property is to invite people to come here year round and be a part of our cultural movement.
I love that. And I know we have so much to talk about, but I didn't grow up here, but we work alongside Native Nevadans, and a couple that I know, oh yeah, we hopped the fence. We've been coming up here as kids for years. Well, now you don't have to, but we're going to get into that in just a little bit. Yes?
Yes, we will. Because I didn't grow up here either. And, I'd heard of Burning Man. I've seen pictures of Fly Geyser. In fact, I was telling Nancy on the way up here, I was in a winery in Santa Cruz, and there's a huge photo of Fly Geyser behind the tasting table or tasting counter. I was like, oh, a little bit of home there. Nice. So it is so iconic. But Fly Ranch, this was purchased in 2016. Is that correct? Tell us a little bit about that and kind of how that influenced where we are now.
Yeah. Well, you're right that, like, for a lot of Nevadans and a lot of people around the world, like, there is this iconic geyser, and I've seen it on the cover of National Geographic. My optometrist has a bunch of pictures too of it.
You're like, hey, I know that.
Yeah. But it's part of this, like, beautifully expansive and super biodiverse environment where there's 150 plus types of birds, 140 plants. We've seen mountain lions and scorpion snakes and all of that. And, like, that collectively was really interesting in terms of what could be used in the space. So when the opportunity came in 2016 to purchase the land, it was really through Burning Man and through the principle of gifting and through the principle of imagining what is possible. So we were able to get support from donors who wanted to pursue that idea of what might be possible, what might be able to be catalyzed from a year-round place to iterate and experiment, and much like Black Rock City, invite the community to come and create. So through that, we were able to acquire this piece of property, spend some time sitting, watching, learning basic permaculture principles, and then start inviting people in to see what they might imagine and what was possible and what they wanted to bring to the space when they didn't have to like tear it down a week later and drive back to wherever they came from.
Yeah, I think I would just add, Zach, that was super well said. I think I would just add that for many years prior to our acquisition of this property, this was a goal for the founders who created Black Rock City, the Burning Man event, and who created our nonprofit and saw beyond the duration of a short time period where we could have this space specifically because it's so iconic and because it's near Black Rock City. We're sitting only a few miles away from our event space where at this moment people are starting to survey and build Black Rock City. And so this place in Nevada, this location in the northern bounds of Washoe County, has always been important to Burning Man and to our culture and to our global community. And it really anchors us in space and history, including the fact that we're on Native American ancestral lands. And as people come to Burning Man, they're coming through Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe and those active lands right now. And so the idea existed early on and the hope existed early on. And so it was really something when this property became available in 2016 and this vision started to crystallize. And what we saw were burners wanting to be involved and to support our nonprofit vision. And I think Zach, you did a great job of talking about the importance of gifting and of donors who really want to not just make the purchase happen, but stay with us and see what we can do sustainably with a property like this.
I love that because you feel it when you get on here, and I always enjoy talking to you guys because your passion for all of these things. So let's talk about some of the projects. As we just have been walking around a little bit in our short visit here, we've seen a fantastic garden, and I'll let you tell more about the project.
Yeah, I mean, there's dozens of projects that are here, and they sort of come through a couple of avenues. Things are like what we see at Burning Man, and they come out here, and they sort of find a home beyond that event. Others are sort of site-specific people that have come out here, been inspired, and built things. And then others are sort of a little bit of a hybrid. So, for instance, we did a design challenge in 2020. We worked with this group called the Land Art Generator Initiative. We call them LOGI, to basically take everything that we had learned about the property in 14 months of an environmental baseline study that we had done, publish all of that information open source and say, here's what we have. Here are our challenges. Here's our opportunities. Here's what the wind, the weather, the humidity all looks like. What is possible to in terms of solutions for power, water, shelter, food, and regenerative waste systems. And so we put it out to the community to design art as infrastructure. And so that created this network of thousands of people that were involved, sort of noodling on this thing and thinking of it. And people who had been to Burning Man were probably a minority in that. So it was sort of this match of this creative design community and this really proven desert tested ingenuity of practically building things out here, sort of coming together to solve some of these challenges, very rooted in a specific place. So we awarded 10 finalists some grant money. Each one of those has started to build here in some form, either prototypes or site things. And then the garden that we were looking at started off as a design challenge project from this group Seed. They built this sunken in fruit forest. And then the community out here and one of our team members, Big Chris, has really taken that over to feed not only, ourselves and our crew and some of the folks that are out here, but also start to bring some of that food back into Black Rock City to serve our staff.
Love it. And before we get off that, we have to talk about the greenhouse.
Yeah.
Because it's, of course, underground or a little bit protected from the wind. I love that.
Yeah, I think part of our goals here at Fly, but also what we want to be in the world, is to innovate and look at things differently and look at things creatively. And the systems and dreams and expertise that comes into a design challenge like this, part of the idea is to implement those and build those. And those are all for the first time and see how those work. And we would like to sort of showcase and demonstrate that these new designs, which are sometimes very old designs, can be effective, can be valuable and important, especially in high desert environments, in rural Nevada, in parts of the county that need these different kinds of solutions, these sustainable solutions that might be thought about differently than the status quo. And so this is that sort of incubator space that we would like to do that. And we really appreciate sort of the partnership and support of Washoe County, because oftentimes it's not easy to innovate, especially when you're in designated structures or codes or even thought processes. And so being able to partner with you all in these sort of hopes and dreams, but real endeavors, is really important to us, that public-private partnership. So we really appreciate that.
That's a term that, when you start to hear a term that it's everywhere, I feel like this is the year of public-private partnerships, at least for us. It seems like we're talking about that in a lot of contexts. And I love how that, Washoe County can provide kind of the framework, and then you provide the dreamers. And how perfectly Nevadan is that as well. And being in a place where you, as you said, you can sit and watch and just think about what could be. And I don't feel like you don't get that everywhere. It might be
I
biased.
think you're right. And I think probably one of the things that makes us unique is that the visionary, innovative thinking, the creative thinking that I think Burning Man is probably best known for, is partnered with this subject matter expertise that each person brings, these passions and this knowledge that when you put them together, they're greater than the whole. And I think that's what makes Burning Man so exciting. And I think that's what makes this place and this potential so exciting.
Yeah. I mean, as a Fly Ranch team, these are not our projects. Like our work is to facilitate a system where people can contribute from anywhere. And everything that's here is open source. And we want to contribute not just to the benefit of what's here, but to people that are dealing with climates like this right now, people who will be dealing with climates like this in the near future, to have access to that information. And there are plenty of people that have come here and made contributions that have no interest in going to Black Rock City. And that's just fine.
Because they can enjoy such an iconic place. You don't have to. You can do both. You can do all. You can do
There's a lot of overlap.
one or the other. Yeah, of course there is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you do have people coming here, and guardians, are they visitors? How does that work?
So our Guardians, the Fly Guardian program, is a way to volunteer as a land steward. So we have an incredible team of volunteers. All of our programs are volunteer-led. So this is a group of volunteers that has organized to help train people up to the knowledge base necessary to be out here on your own and deal with some of the challenges, the heat, if people get lost, what to do in these, basic, I would say, desert survival conditions, as well as how to care for the land. So giving people the opportunity to volunteer to come and spend up to a week out here is, like, in my mind, one of the coolest things to do in all Nevada. Because you're up near the hot springs. It's absolutely beautiful. Most of the time you have it to yourself, and it is an otherworldly and profoundly beautiful place up there. So there are other ways to access, but for who I am, it's a really special way to do things.
Yeah.
May I, the arc of our ownership of this property, our stewardship of this land, started in 2016. Zach made reference to a study that we did. It was a year-long fellowship by a wetlands ecologist named Lisa Beers, and she lived here for a year through all 4 seasons and gave us this important baseline of the species that are here, the way the seasons go. And to be listening to Zach kind of describe the guardians, and I know we'll talk more about the invitation to be here at Fly. And I think we've taken a really thoughtful approach to this land to understand how we can best be good stewards and offer opportunities to people who want to come and be a part of it.
And so interesting that you said wetlands, because as we were driving in, we were marveling at how green some areas are. I mean, clearly there's water, and people think desert, whatever, playa, it's all, but clearly there's water here, and there's so much more. You mentioned the biodiversity. There's so much more to the desert than people realize.
Yeah, particularly here, the northern end of the property is all the hot springs and wetlands network. And it's one of the largest networks in northern Nevada like that. And there's a lot of surface area. There's over 120 springs that have sprung up. Some are small as plates, some are larger than swimming pools. And so that's one of the reasons that we see so many birds and migratory waterfowl. And like the first time I saw a pelican here, I was like, what is going on? And there are feral horses, there are other animals that come because water is life in the desert. And so, like, preserving that, keeping that intact, managing to support the biodiversity is a really important part of this. We have an endemic and at-risk snail that is only found up in some of the springs network up there. It's called the Fly Ranch Perg. There's a metal sculpture of it out there as you were driving in. And so, that's a really special thing. And they are also residents and constituents here in this space.
Wow. I know. I'm like, oh, I have so many questions. But I do want to talk about some of the art too that you see. It's so beautifully placed and, 3,800 acres. Why do I keep stumbling on? Because it's a lot.
It's well.
How do you decide what comes in, what goes out?
I can talk a little bit about art, but I'm going to hand it over to Zach. We are extremely grateful, and we have the benefit of being an artistic community here at Burning Man. And there are so many artists from Nevada, from the United States, from all over the world who bring art to Burning Man, to the big event in Black Rock City. And one of the things that's important to us is having that art showcased in other places. And we are fortunate enough to have some pieces here that are important.
We do. Yeah, I mean, Burning Man as an event is the greatest outdoor art gallery I've ever seen. Coming here, there's some practical challenges. What can persist in the elements? What can last for years? What is materials and site appropriate? And then, as one is experienced in exploring the landscape, how do you sort of create waypoints of experience? And when we're doing small campouts or gatherings or things like that, people have the capacity to sort of explore and wander and come across these things. We have everything from large marquee Burning Man art installations like Baba Yaga's tea house that is up there, shack on chicken legs. To there's this guy named Buck that just has, the last 2 years, just been hiding tiny little ducks everywhere. So as you're wandering around, you're like, oh, there's a duck.
I love it.
Yeah. To everything in between. And to have the proximity of the event, to have the enthusiasm for it, and to really explore. It's not necessarily an art park in the controlled sort of way. It is art immersed in landscape, and thinking about how that experience exists and what happens when something is taken out of the context of an event like Burning Man and brought here. And for instance, the ravens that we have here have sort of taken residence in and around Baba Yaga's tea house. And so it's this sort of got this ancient lived in feel. And then you'll just have these giant swarms of ravens flying above that give a whole other element to it as a object or experience.
That's cool.
Do you invite artists to come in and kind of look and place? Do you select the art? How does that work?
At first, it was friends of ours and artists based out of Reno. A lot of artists coming out of the Generator. We have a close working relationship with the Generator. We love everything that they're doing. And from that, we got the Pier, we got Baba Yaga's tea house, we got a couple of other, the first installations. And then people started thinking about this as a place where their art could live on and persist. And so for those that feel called to it, it's usually a really exciting conversation. We come out, we do site walks. There's a couple of artists that are coming to Burning Man this year that'll be here next week, sort of imagining what it might look like. And then we get people who have come across the website. We have a project form at flyranch.org where people can say, hey, here's my idea. Here's what I want to contribute. Here's what I do. And then we have a conversation and see how it might work out.
And by the way, I have to tell you that website is amazing.
Thank you.
So much history, so much anybody. Burning Man has just done, and you guys have done an incredible job of placing. You can just go down so many rabbit holes.
And say it again. What's the URL?
Flyranch.org.
Flyranch.org. But I like what you said earlier. You've got the guardians, you've got the people who come out and volunteer, but you can also just come out and do a trail, right? Through Friends of Black Rock.
Yeah.
That
So through the local conservation group, the Friends of the Black Rock High Rock, who's been a essential partner to us since day one, doing our cleanups, doing our stewardship weekends, and making it possible for people to visit. Whenever I tell anyone that I work with Fly Ranch and at Fly Geyser, they're like, oh yeah, I used to sneak in there. And I mean, that's great. And that's honestly how I first got here. But Friends of Black Rock High Rock runs nature walks April to October every week. They're a really great partner. They're doing important work in public lands. They're doing important work out here. And they have really well-trained docents that can talk to people about the history of the land, past the art that we're seeing, talking about the projects that's going on. And, for folks that aren't going to volunteer and come and camp here by themselves, it's a really great way to come up for a day, spend some time in Gerlach, come out here and see what's going on.
I love it. Yeah, it's a great idea.
BlackRockDesert.org.
Oh, there we go.
Yes, another good .org.
Yes.
Because we're government and we should have a safety message in there somewhere as well. You don't want to just come out without being prepared, I imagine, checking the weather. We're inside because it may or may not start raining at any moment.
Yeah.
So you want people to go to the website and check first, I would imagine, right? And sign up ahead of time. And
I would say,
so how does it work?
Yeah. Friends of Black Rock High Rock has a great resource on the website for the things that you should bring. The walks are going to happen rain or shine.
Oh, okay. Great.
We've had some muddy ones. But also call and check. They've got a great office. They're really responsive. They'll let people know what's going on.
Yeah. So put your hood on, right.
They also have a location in Gerlach, which is their sort of visitor center. And they have items that if you feel like you've forgotten something, you can stop and pick up. And Burning Man's famous for our survival guide for Black Rock City. Fly Ranch even has their own survival guide on that, on their website. And so,
I bought some books there. It's a wonderful stop.
Be drastic change, and each time of year brings something different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's when you realize you're out in the elements.
Mm-hmm. Nature. Imagine that. You had mentioned the Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe and that we're on some ancestral lands here. How do you work with the culture here and the just really paying honor and reverence to where you are actually situated?
Well, it's important to Burning Man overall, and especially to Fly Ranch, to work with the local tribes and the Northern Paiute, Western Shoshone lands, or the historical lands that we're on. And I think one of the things I really enjoy about the Fly Ranch team and just Burning Man's approach is to be radically inclusive. And what that means is honoring the people or neighbors in bringing them to this location, bringing them to this place, and letting them speak to us more than us speaking to them. And I think we've been doing that really since we acquired this property early on, and did that with intention. A lot of the members of the tribe who have come here for these different events and campouts are invited to speak in the areas that are important to them, in their areas of expertise. And those partnerships and that involvement, I think, are meaningful. And some of the projects that Zach was talking about, in particular, the Ripple project, which is one of the Logie finalists, have done 2 projects at the Pyramid Lake Visitor Center and Museum. You can stop by and see those using traditional methods for structures that are now on display at that location. And so different projects and partnerships and just making sure that we all understand that that's an ongoing relationship, that I think is, to me, kind of one of the important things that stand out.
Yeah. It's, the impact of this project, as I said earlier, is not about the boundaries of the parcels that we happen to be on. And so through either having members of the Pyramid Lake Paiute tribe come and giving them the opportunity to speak to communities we have, bringing tribe members up so we can do things like harvest tuileries that they make ceremonial mats out of that we have in abundance and are not located down there, or things like the Ripple Group, which in addition to the hava that they built, did an ethnobotanical garden in front of the museum with Billie Jean. It's really wonderful. That was a project in collaboration with Burners Without Borders, which is another amazing group program of Burning Man, and really also our partners in developing this. They do community engagement and disaster relief year round. They're wonderful.
Fly Ranch has honey. Let's talk about the bees.
Yeah. So we currently have 8 hives. We've actually just gone through our producer certificate with the state to be able to distribute that. And one of the benefits of being out here, 24 miles from the grid, pretty far away from, I would say, large pockets of civilization, is it is, but de facto organic. There's no pesticides. It's a really wonderful place, and we see, as the different wildflowers bloom up, a dramatic difference in the honey that we're getting. So there was a gentleman named Massimo and this group that came out of, again, that same design challenge, who said, we want to build 2 artistic hives. And they came and they brought those and they sort of taught us about this. And then when we had Big Chris join our team, he had a ton of experience, and we've taken it to 8 hives. We do a spring harvest and a fall harvest, and just the ability to, with gifting, be able to give people the gift of the taste of Fly Ranch, and to do it in a way that is not necessarily extractive, but it is trying to like offer the opportunity to increase biodiversity, help support the garden, help support the neighbors. We have an alfalfa farm to the north. Has been a wonderful education and a delight.
This will be a slightly different question for both of you, the biggest misconception about Burning Man, about being up here in rural northern Washoe County? What do you think?
You want to take that first?
She's buying time. Because I threw that one at you. That was so unprepared.
I think one of the most important things that comes up when you ask that important question is understanding that Burning Man Project is a nonprofit organization. And we did that intentionally. We do that because we have a mission, and our community shares a set of values that are described by the 10 principles that our founder wrote many, many years ago. And I think understanding that that's what drives us, and we're not a company or a corporation, that we have a diverse group of people that come to Black Rock City every year, which is, there's a microcosm of that here at Fly, and that's what we love. We have people coming to Black Rock City from all over the world each year. Burning Man loves that we are guardians and stewards of the Black Rock Desert in the National Conservation Area, and that we are able to share what public land in the United States looks like to people coming from all over the world. Sometimes up to 20% of the population of Black Rock City is from different countries. We learned through the greenhouse gas emissions study that I actually led that we have visitors coming from 5,500 cities from across the world. And so when you ask that question, it's a meaty question. Zach and I both paused because I think that is really important, is to know that we're mission driven. Our goal is to create a more connected, thriving society, and to sort of take the culture that has sprung from Black Rock City outwards. So I think I would say that, but I'm curious what your thoughts are.
You know, I think for Fly Ranch, if I had to name the biggest misconception, I would say that I think it's people don't think that they can participate. Like, I don't think that there's a place for them. And it's whether you're an academic or a research scientist, whether you're just somebody that loves camping out in the middle of the desert, whether you're somebody that likes working on sustainability projects, or an artist, or just somebody that wants to come on a walk, like, there are avenues for participation. We're a little out there, but it's worth it. And I have seen people come here and just take in the landscape and be wowed. So whether people just want to come by for a day or a weekend or build something or just throw some ideas at us, flyranch.org, flyranch@burningman.org, that gets us.
I'm going to do an easier question just for our final one.
Okay.
Okay. Favorite thing about Fly Ranch?
Awe.
Just off.
It is awe-inspiring. If there's something, to have something that I'm involved in my life that I have seen regularly impact people in ways that they can't describe, that's something magical.
Marty?
Well, I'll say that since we didn't know what question you were going to ask, we did not plan this answer. But when you asked me that, what I was going to say, and I'll say, is that this place with these wide open vistas, with the sense of place that you get with something so vast, with a confusing scale, where when day turns to night and you are in one of the darkest places in the country, looking up at the night sky and pondering that, what I was going to say is it's the awe that comes with being in this place. So yes, I would say awe.
So yeah, thank you both. Your expertise and your passion. I go back to that. Every time I meet with someone from Burning Man, I feel the same thing. And what you've done and what you continue to do, the positivity that you bring us, we really appreciate. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for having us here.
Thank you. And thank you for watching, listening. If you have ideas for topics we should cover, cool people in your neighborhood,
Like these
something
two?
interesting, exactly. Nevadans that we need to know. Ooh, I should coin that.
There you go.
Drop us an email, washoe311@washoecounty.gov, and we'd love to hear from you.